This is a fascinating moment for the industry. I think the belief system around the elusive goal of cross-platform measurement that people have been talking about for years. I think not only in the U.S., but we now see a belief system forming that this is actually going to happen. Not just in the U.S., but it's going to happen in multiple markets. And we may actually, dare I say, have some convergence of a methodology that works in one country may work in multiple countries, which is a game changer for the biggest marketers, the biggest brands in the world, to have a single view of how media performs.
So talk to us about that for a bit. Why do you think we're starting to see that? What are advertisers looking for that they're not getting from country by country measurement solutions?
It's there's an interesting thing that what you expected from digital media is a very rigorous methodology to prove performance. There's also this proliferation of data from the television and offline media, and so the opportunity to bring methodology together, to have a unified view, is now happening. And we see it where the walled gardens are emerging with more willingness to be measured by third parties. We also see offline media being counted on an impression basis. And then that allows for deduplication and convergence to take place. And so when that all comes together, I think what marketers have is what we believe is the golden age of measurement.
So Samba has really been built off smart TV platforms, and you have a unique asset in that space which you've built on top of to roll out your measurement offering. Are you ever surprised by how little use is made of smart TV data in lots of other markets?
There is, I would say, some markets that lead and some markets that follow. While I don't normally tend to be, America-centric in all my worldviews, I will say that the U.S. has led the way in this. And specifically because the U.S. had set-top box data for quite some time. And so that gave the U.S. a head start, over other markets, say in Europe or Asia. But now that smart TV data sets have actually been in market for several years, and we were certainly the leader in this regard, what we're seeing is that agencies and their clients are sort of having this moment where they say, wow, this is actually a really powerful opportunity to reinvent, the model for planning and for measurement. And so our data flows into these tools so they can look at the market differently.
And just talk it through with us. What's the benefit and value of TV data, smart TV data, versus, say, a traditional panel?
Well, smart TV data, as we all know, benefits from scale. There's many millions of these devices already in homes that we are collecting data from. And so while more doesn't necessarily mean better, we're now getting to the point where not only with it do we have more, but we can also prove that within that large data set, there's a very useful and representative panel that can be constructed from within that data set. And so you can actually start to say, well, here are the shortcomings of traditional panels, and here's where smart TV panels can pick up. And maybe those aren't mutually exclusive. Maybe those things start to come together in a meaningful way like we see in the US, but we see that potential in pretty much every major media market around the world.
So there's a lot of talk and excitement in the US at the moment about the JIC and its efforts, particularly in relation to standardizing streaming data. Do you think the JIC is a transformational moment for the US marketplace?
Well, a JIC, in a traditional sense, is a currency. And what we see in the US is not quite that, but it is a lot of desire for consistency, for transparency, for portability, to emerge, and with large media companies stepping up with their own data, their streaming data. What that does is it removes the sort of the monopoly power that a measurement company will have in the future. It would be a much more level playing field to get your hands on streaming data than moving through a proprietary SDK. That model seems to be an endangered species, which is probably a good thing, because what we all really want is innovation. We want innovation in the measurement category and in currency, and the JIC in the US is certainly a platform to achieve that.
So the other area that's attracting a lot of attention here in Cannes is an area that you guys know very well, and that's the use of AI to support and enhance measurement solutions. Tell us a bit about what you're doing with AI, because you made a big investment in that space, right?
So Samba, as a sort of developer in AI, we've been doing this for over a decade. Machine learning models for signal processing and computer vision, but also as it relates to how do we use data and basically synthesize insights and new data sets to reveal things that are really helpful for media planning, media measurement. So this is a really exciting moment for us. computing capabilities in the server side are obviously things we read about a lot, in the industry right now, and certainly in the consumer press. Certainly a moment, there that will be exciting, controversial in some areas, but definitely exciting and disruptive. Now, the thing that we aren't talking about in the press, but we'll start to see more, is what you can do in the device itself. That, there's more and more computing capability in the TV, in handheld devices, that allows us to move, some of these models into the edge and start to create entirely new data sets that haven't existed before.